Be Social Free Mind interview, take one.
All right. So to start off, tell us your name, where you're from, and give us a little bit of background information about you.
Yes, my name is Stacey Torrance. I'm from Philadelphia, North Philly to be exact. Um, Born and raised in Philadelphia, come from a family of six, mother and father, um, raised in the household. Went to Hill School Elementary, then from there transferred to Beaver Junior High School, not too far from here actually, from St. Joe's campus, under a magnet school program. From there, I had opportunity to go to Overbrook High under the same magnet school program where I could have had a scholarship and went to college. But unfortunately, at the age of 14, I made a terrible mistake where an individual's life was taken. I wasn't the one who actually committed the crime. However, I knew the individuals and was part of a conspiracy, a robbery. And the individual ended up getting in his life ended up getting taken. He was murdered, and from that incident, I received a life without parole sentence at the age of 14. Went to prison at the age of 14, and where I was incarcerated there for approximately 30 years. While I was incarcerated, I tried to make the best out of a bad situation by educating myself. Went to school, obtained my GED. From there, I had the opportunity to go to college inside of prison under a Pell Grant program. But at the time that I enrolled in the program, um, they canceled the Pell Grants for people who was incarcerated. But they allowed me to still take the course. Um, Actually, it was an entrepreneurship course, and that like really started my idea or my passion of entrepreneurship.
So that program that you were a part of, where you were taking those classes, that's kind of what sparked your whole idea for the Free Minds uh, Entrepreneurship Network.
Yes, well, that actually the foundation of my love for entrepreneurship. However, the specific idea for Fremont Entrepreneur Network didn't come until years later. It came until at the time where I was close to coming home from prison. I started to hear about individuals who left prison, was marginalized from employment for whatever reason, or couldn't find sustainable employment. So they decided to go into entrepreneurship, start their own businesses. And just to digress a little bit, the ironic thing of these individuals starting their own businesses, the businesses that they started were the things that they were doing while they was incarcerated. For example, I know two individuals who came home and started gyms. They opened up gyms. They were physical trainers inside of prison. They loved working out. They did it, during their time there, trained people inside of prison, and came home and started, gyms. And today, one gym is called Sweat Chasers, and another gym is called Redemption Body Gym. And they both businesses are doing well. And so hearing about these individuals while incarcerated, I said it would be, good to gather these individuals on a network where if you were looking for a particular service and wanted to support somebody who was formerly incarcerated, you can find whatever service you were looking for. And that started the idea of the Fremont Entrepreneur Network.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit more about like what you do kind of in a day to day with this whole group of entrepreneurs. What sorts of different things can you all do for each other?
Well, it's actually what it is a network. So, during the day or during the course of the week, we stay in touch with one another, communicate with one another. And if there's anything that I came across that can be beneficial to another person in their business or their service or in the products that they're making, I share it. if I find out anything in regards to how to improve their financial situation with their business, I share that. So it's like a network of individuals who share ideas, who share opportunities with one another, and that's what we actually do, like during the course of the day. Of course, we working in our own businesses during the day, but we stay in touch with one another, which is one of the things I would hope the network would do. Be a place where you can go to get advice or to find out about different opportunities that may be beneficial to you.
Great. And have that support system for one another as
Right.
well.
Yes.
Great. So the Free Mind Entrepreneurship Network was founded in 2021. How has it changed now in 2022, and where do you see it going in the next 5, maybe 10 years?
Well, like I said, initially, I envisioned it as it being a guide, as I just mentioned, where you can go on there and you can find, whatever resources or service you was looking for. And you wanted to support somebody who was formerly incarcerated. But since last year, like during the end of last year, we came up with the idea of starting the media phase of it in regards to let's interview. How about we interview people and get their business more exposure by placing the interviews on different networks in the media. And so that was the idea that I loved, because like this is a way of getting people more exposure, getting it out there more, and really seeing the network flourish and grow on a larger scale. So I love the media phase of it. It gives the people, opportunity to really show what their business, it puts a face to the business. Whereas opposed to on social media or as it being a guide, you will only read about their business. But the interviews give the opportunity for people to really see the face behind the business. So you can see the face behind the founder of the Free Entrepreneur Network. You can see the face behind primetime contracting, and get a feel for who it is that you might be doing business with. Where I see it growing, or my vision for the future of it, is for it to be more of a resource, where it helps the entrepreneurs grow their business, as opposed to it being just a place where we can share advice or share different opportunities that we come across. I envision it being a place where people can come and get resources to grow their business, financially, advice from other businesses, advice from banks or people in those kind of positions.
Absolutely. That's great. So what challenges have you faced along the way? Obviously, when you did get out of prison and you came up with this idea, you had this idea while you were in prison, but then when you came out, how did you kind of get the ball running, and what challenges were?
My biggest, my biggest challenge was actually how do I create a website? Because I wanted to create a website for the business, and I was fortunately to meet May Knight from St. Jude's University. I met her through Susan, who's another professor at St. Jude's, and I actually met Susan first, and she introduced me to MA, and I pitched the idea to MA. Say, look, I have this idea of creating this network, but I don't know a thing about coding. I don't know a thing about how to create a website, but I have this vision. And so she put me together with the beautiful and talented, Beautiful Social group. And it was like, that collaboration or that coming together was what I actually wanted. It was my vision. It was my dream come true. How I was growing over since 2021 has been something that caused me to stay up at night, because it's something so dear and close to my heart. And having the guidance and having the professionalism of Beautiful Social has been what the Free Entrepreneur Network has needed to grow in the direction that is growing in.
That's awesome. I'm so glad that you were able to meet Amay and then obviously meet with Beautiful Social, and that they've been able to help you out, and we continue to help you grow as well. And I'm excited to see where it all goes in the next couple of years and stay in on it too. So what would you say now motivates you each day? You said it keeps you up at night because it's so dear to your heart, but what keeps you up?
I'm always thinking about ideas of how to improve it. And so just to make it better, just to, bring more resources to the network for the entrepreneurs. That's what keeps me up at night, and that's what keeps me motivated, to tell more people about it. I'm always, telling people about the network, about the business, and how they can come on board and be beneficial to it, how they can help it grow. Because more brains are better than one. So it's like the more people I tell about it, the more ideas I receive, the more advice they give me, what direction I can take it, and the more help that they can provide, from resources that they know of. So that's my motivation and my vision for it is to make it grow, or to contribute to its expansion, to be more of a resource and more of a network to the entrepreneurs that's involved. I want to be able to, like, if you come with an idea, you don't have the money, I want to have resources available that can possibly give a person a grant, or that can possibly give a person the finances they need to actually start their business or help grow their existing business.
And that would be incredible for them as well, because then they can really get the ball rolling too, and then have that support system around them. So what would you like people to know about people who are incarcerated or were previously?
That they're not the worst decision that they've made in their life. Whatever decisions you made to land you in prison, to land you in to being incarcerated, it was a bad decision. I don't like to use the word mistake. Some people make mistakes, but some people do things intentionally as well. But I want the world to see, or the world to know, that people who are incarcerated do change. And one of the visions or goals I have for the Free Entrepreneur Network is for it to be a place where people can see that this is what the faces of second chances can look like. So at one time, these people were on, including myself, were on the end of tearing down, our communities. And now we're on the opposite end of that. We're doing things to rebuild our communities. A lot of us have become employers. We'll be offering jobs to individuals, started nonprofits that's really benefiting and doing good works within the community. You have, there's a group called Grown, organization called Grown, that was started by two individuals, Ike and Nell, once sentenced to die in prison. Now, this organization called Grown, Growing Respect Over Our Worst Nightmare, is helping to rebuild the community. They actually go out in the evenings or at night and patrol the neighborhoods, and they approach people who, in like the hot spots, maybe out there committing crimes or whatever, and they offer them other opportunities besides running the streets or besides committing crime in the streets, such as employment opportunities and things like that. They've even not interviewed people, but help people fill out applications right there on the spot, on the street, to help them get jobs and to let them know that there are other opportunities besides what you're out here doing. We have there's a brother called Suja Moore. He founded a production company called Walkie Films. Walkie Films. And he once did time and was incarcerated. He came home, didn't know a lot about like film. He didn't go to film school or anything like that, but he started recording people in his neighborhood to help build up the neighborhood and make documentaries about individuals who successfully made it out or whatever. And so this is what I wanted the Free Entrepreneur Network to do, to highlight these individuals and let the world see that, like as I mentioned, this is what the faces of second chances can look like. Because although you're incarcerated and whatever decisions you made to land you there, that didn't end your life. You were still living a life behind the bars. And people went to school, educated themselves, and transformed their lives in there, and came out and lived by that transformation. A lot of the entrepreneurs, well, I'm gonna say all the entrepreneurs that I know, whatever they're into now, whatever their businesses are now, whether it's nonprofits or for-profits, is what they were doing while they was incarcerated. So it didn't just start. The transformation didn't start when they came home. The transformation began from the day they was incarcerated. They made a decision to not be the same individuals who made that bad decision and took them to prison. They transformed their lives in there, and what you see today, what they're doing today, is evidence of that transformation. It's possible. It's possible, and you could go to prison for whatever decisions you made, but you can still change your life around. You can come out a much better individual.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love your outlook on it, and just it is so true that they will come out of prison, and instead of tearing society down, they might be building society back up. So definitely a great perspective on it. So my last question is, what advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about becoming an entrepreneur?
Follow your dream.
In prison or out of prison?
Yeah, in prison. Like I said, and I know other individuals who never did time in prison, who were never incarcerated, but made decisions to become an entrepreneur because of whatever life circumstances they went through out here, and it benefited them. So you don't have to, of course, take that path of incarceration and become an entrepreneur. You can. So what advice I would give to anybody, whether you were ever incarcerated or not, is to find out what your passion is. Find out, what you love to do, what your heart is connected to, and follow that. Of course, a regular 9-to-5 job is necessary. You have to eat. You have to provide for yourself, provide for your family if you have a family. However, I think that this is just my personal perspective on really following your dreams. If you wake up in the morning or when you go to sleep at night, if your heart isn't really connected to something, is not connected to something that really get your blood to pumping, you aren't really alive. That's the way I look at it. That's the way I view my life. I wanted to, when I came out of prison, I wanted to do more than just live. More than just exist. I wanted to live. I think, existing, you wake up in the morning and you eat, you do your thing, you go out the course of the day. However, I wanted to live. I never had an opportunity to live. So I think entrepreneurship really brings that's the foundation of a person who is pursuing their dreams. It makes you happy. You understand? Like, this makes me happy, doing things to help people who are trying to follow their dreams and, live out their passions. So it's like, my advice is find out what you're passionate about, and what you're passionate about because what moves you, what your heart is connected to, and follow it, and pursue it. You don't have to give up. You don't have to go out on a limb and not have a job or not being. You can still be employed, have a job, but still follow your dreams. Because to me that's doing more than just existing. It's living. It's living life to the fullest.
Absolutely.